what is a node in the Logseq database version? So in the previous version of Logseq, the Markdown or file-based version, where my cursor is here, this is a block. It's the same in both the Markdown version and the database version. This is still considered a block. But in the database version, they introduced a new term, nodes. And today we'll figure out together what that actually means and what can we do with nodes. So we know this is an indented block. So these are blocks, but what is a node? So according to the Logseq documentation, a node is a new term for a page or block because the two now behave similarly. So in the Markdown version of Logseq, a page and a block were two distinct things. Okay, so in the Markdown version, if you created a page, this is a page. If you created this in the Markdown version, this would create a Markdown file called thisisapage.md. And every journal entry, so every day comes a new journal entry. So you can see that I'm recording this on July 18th, 2026. So in the Markdown version, it would create a Markdown file called 2026_7_18.md. But in the database version, this node is considered a node. But what does that actually mean and what can we do with them? Well, we can attach properties. So I'll keep using the movie example. So if we go here and we do movie, we can create the tag for movie, and then here I'll just add some properties as an example. So year, we'll make that a number, add property, genre, that can be, okay, so yeah. So this is a good point. So in my first video on the genre, you create this as a node, and then we can create, so say like sci-fi, this is one genre, right? And then you can create as many as you want. And then say we then want to create a movie, fantastic movie 20. And so this, you got to try and remember that in the basic element of it is that a node can be a page or a block. So this section here that's highlighted, this is a node. This page here is a node. These are all nodes. And if we click into that, we can then, so just to show you that you can add properties to nodes. So this includes pages and blocks. We've got to keep drumming that into our head, because if you've been using the Markdown version for any length of time, it's going to take a little while to get used to the new terminology. So we can put the movie tag on the page itself. And this is essentially creating metadata for the page, which is how I would use it. However, you can also create metadata on individual blocks. So if you attach the movie tag to the block, you'll notice that now this block essentially has this metadata attached. So it's got year and genre. And then we can go in here and we can put 2026, and then we can attach the genre. So oh, that's weird. It didn't remember my option. Anyway, not to worry. And with the genre, I mean, you can, so with the genre tag, it's good to have multiple values. So then you can specify multiple tags. So we could put another genre for action, for example, and now it's got multiple. Why isn't it showing up here? That's interesting. Oh, what was that? You can click, yeah, okay, so that's something we just discovered as well. So you can click on, oh, that's cool. So when you hover over a block, I'm assuming like you call this whole thing is a block, but I don't know what you would call this point here. If you know in the comments, let me know. So this shows you, and this is one of the great things about the database version that was very much lacking in the Markdown version. So it was sort of difficult when it came to time. And for an example, this is how I have always created my journal entries, right? So I would write the time, and then then I would write something here. And say, for example, I wanted to remember something, then I would do like 29. Just remembered to feed the dog or something. And then here, and then you create like an indented one. So this is an example from the Markdown version. So I would do like to do feed the dog. It might seem a bit redundant to you, but I like having it separate. I like having the to-do separate from the actual journal entry as well. And this is just an example, right? But this doesn't work. So you can't use to do anymore. You would have to actually think, right click on this, and then can we toggle number list? Huh. Okay, so I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you do slash to do instead, and it creates this, and then you can set the status. And I think by default, you can choose whether you want the first to do, because right now it's set to do, right? But you can also have it to backlog, and then see all of your tasks. Then you would just click on task and it queries it there. All right, so we're still trying to figure out, but the good thing about this, so this is how I would sort of manage time-based stuff, and it was pretty clunky in the Markdown version. But now look, so we can hover over this. I guess you would call this a node as well, right? I'm just going to call them all nodes until I hear different. Let's just escape that. And so you can hover over it and you can see when it was created and when it was last edited. That is so handy. And I think you can also, there is a way that you can figure out, so we can right click on this, we can set an icon. That's pretty cool. Where does the icon go? So the icon replaces that. Okay. Maybe we should get the nomenclature down a bit. Okay, so hang on, let me go here and see. Is there, all right, this is going about the actual handbooks. I don't know if this still applies, but I like the framing of that. Blocks are like paragraphs, and in the Markdown version, if you put too much text in one single block, it wouldn't actually import it properly, and you would have to manually edit it in a different editor. Okay, so I think it's all part of the block by the look of it. Queries, blah, 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 handles. Oh no, this is still the old version. Yeah, so we might have to just figure it out for ourselves and play around a little bit and see what's what. If we go back here, so we can change that icon. How do we change it back though? I guess we could do Control Z. All right, so if you do Control Z, it will go back, but maybe that seems to be an oversight, because once you change the icon to something different, there doesn't seem to be an easy way to revert it back to the original one. And what's the difference if we... okay, so this is kind of like, it reminds me of Slack a little bit. Yeah, because there is a collaboration option. So you can enter somebody else's email and can collaborate together. Add a comment. Okay, so what's different? This is a comment. Okay, all right. So, but I don't know what's the difference between this comment. So this is basically, okay, so by the look of it, if you add a comment, it seems to be basically the same thing as this is a comment as well. So it seems to be basically the same thing. However, adding a comment underneath this node gives you a bit more information. So it tells you who made the comment and at what time. That's pretty cool. And then the comment, and you can reply directly. This is a reply. Yeah, so it basically creates a thread, but I think it's essentially the same thing as this. It just formats it in a different way. So that's interesting. You can open in the sidebar, copy block reference and copy block URL. Toggle number list. I think the number list works a bit different than in the Markdown version. The Markdown version was a bit hacky. Do we have any other? So no, there's no other options if you have this as a to-do. So you can clear it, cancelled. So these are useful, and I want to create a system. So I was going to try and create like a makeshift Kanban type system. So I mean, at the end of the day, a node is literally just a term for a page or a block. So remember, this is the page, this is a page, this is a block, this is a block. And that's, I mean, for most people, that's all you're really going to need to know. And I mean, you can hover over that to see when it was created, when it was last edited. I wonder if you can see the history. If we do this, can I? Oh, okay. But that doesn't work as formatting. How do I do a strike through? What? So have we lost some of the Markdown formatting now? Or do we have to do it like that? What? Why isn't it? That should be a strike through. But that works, right? Okay. So we can do code braces, but we can't do strike through. But italics works. Yeah, italics and all the rest of it. I think the bold works. Yeah, italics, bolds. That just the strike through doesn't seem to work. Maybe you need two of them. Well, that doesn't make much sense. Huh, okay. So by the look of it, you need to do double strike through. So you have to do it like that to do the strike through. And let's check the edited time now. Yep, so that corresponds. So that's working good. Nice. Let's look at our graph. Ooh, and I don't get this. The graph in Logseq was always pretty useless. However, still seems rather useless. Let me just try something. All right, so I'm going a bit off topic here, but I just want to test something. So if I just got a new German Shepherd, I think that's how you spell it. No, Shepherd, is it? Whatever. Spelling is not my strong suit. So if we go here, we can, okay, so that just clicked for me from a previous video. So when we created a tag with the exact same name, so a page by itself doesn't have any intrinsic properties when you create a page. You have to set the property, or alternatively, you can actually create with the exact same name, and I don't think that's the right spelling. Huh, and this is interesting as well. So learning something new. Previously, when I created a tag of a page that already existed, it would come up here and say convert tag to. Now it's got two. Okay, so right, so this tag has properties, but if we go in here, we can probably see, yeah, it's the same reference. So it's referencing literally the exact same page. And that's why it's coming up with 2 here, which is weird. So just remember that pages and tags are different. Okay, but here I just wanted to, wait, why does that not have? Now I'm learning, this is super weird because this is acting different than it was yesterday. So if I want to extend dog, so we can extend dog because this is a dog breed. And then I want to see the graph view, but it doesn't connect to dog. I thought it would connect to dog. How does it not? All right, let's try a non-funky version. So if we do, here we go, dog/German Shepherd. So this is how I used to, so in the database version, you could create a page like that. And no, it's not showing it. Maybe I can, but it would link them together. So in the page title, you would literally write dog/German Shepherd. And you could do that and it would create a hierarchy. So dog would be at the top and then German Shepherd underneath. And when you go into the page, it would show you at the bottom the hierarchy. So the deeper it went, the higher the hierarchy would go. But if we golden retriever. Okay, so if we do dog here, so if we need to set property extends, no. So how do we, oh, I guess, okay, all right. This is making a bit more sense now. So golden retriever, right? So we set that as, and usually like you probably wouldn't create these in the block itself because then that's just going to add properties, and here we would do extends to dog, and then like in here you could say like my dog's name is Lassie, and yes, I know Lassie is not a golden retriever if you're a dog person. Graph view, German Shepherd, German Shepherd. So they overlap. Oh, okay, there we go. So now we've got some overlap. I don't know why we've got two dog tags. Unintentional pun there. That's weird. But anyway, I think we've thoroughly discovered what a node is and what we can, like the basics of what you can do with a node. So I'm going to cut it off here before I ramble anymore. And if you liked it, do all the stuff down below over here. I don't know, like I'll probably create cards or something, but all right, see ya.